Hello everyone, welcome to Poor Artist Acrylics. My name is Shannon and thank you for taking the time to stop by. If you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Any or all of those will help the channel. I am brand new, so I can use all the help I can get. I am new at both pouring and at videos, so why am I already starting a channel on pouring? I really enjoy it. I've been doing it since January. This isn't the first video I recorded. It probably will be the first video I share, and the reason why is mostly camera angles. I may make a little blooper reel, so to speak, of some of my other attempted videos so you can show why I'm not posting them as actual videos. But this one, the camera angle isn't perfect, but it's better. I'm intending to improve my setup so I have a better overhead on my camera angle and add some lighting. The lighting on this video is pretty good because I've got a lot of natural light. I may eventually do a little mini tour of my space so you can get a better idea of the space I'm working in. It's not very big, but I'm messy, as you can see if you look on the floor. And it's pretty easy to clean most of the paint up off the garage floor, and what doesn't come up, well, it's the garage, so it's not the end of the world. The colors I'm using for this piece are inspired by Mina Villegas. They're not the exact same color scheme, but they're similar. I was playing around with some of those colors anyway in different combinations and not liking them. And I watched one of her videos and I really liked how it turned out. So all the colors are pretty similar. The only color that's exactly the same is the the Quinacridone Nickel. I cannot say nickel today. The Quinacridone Nickel Azo Gold by Golden. That one's exactly the same. The other colors I'm using are Dark Waters, which is not the one I'm showing you right now. That's Vavoom Red. That's by Colourarte. Those are both by Colourarte. Vavoom Red is a dry paint, and Dark Waters is Prism Pour, which is their pre-made paint. They put micas in their paint, so they're very sparkly. And sometimes they put some interference mica in them as well, so they color shift. They're really cool paints. Tammy Anderson is the one who got me hooked on them, and I would spend way more than I could afford to if I couldn't check myself. Other colors I'm using are 24 karat gold by Deco Art. That's in the front there. And I am using Prussian Blue, also by Golden, and Titanium White by Amsterdam as my base. And I will, before the end of this, be using the Dioxazine Purple by Liquitex, which is the dark purple sitting over there to the left. The Vavoom Red, which is the lighter purple, is actually, it's kind of a wine color, and when the light hits it, it shifts to a really nice deep red. And that's what attracted me to the color and why I originally bought it. It's available. I don't know if it's available in any sets on the Colourarte site. It is available individually. Dark Waters, which is the blue, it was introduced in January in a set, and it's still available. It's available in two sets. It's available in a 2-ounce set and a 6-ounce set. It's available in the Pure Radiance Cool Tone set. There's also a Pure Radiance Warm Tone set. Those sets come in 2-ounce and 8-ounce, and the 8-ounce I believe are called the Big. And then you can also buy it individually as an 8-ounce under their individual 8-ounce section. It is a beautiful deep green blue. Looks exactly like its name. It is just, I can't hardly get away from it. I'm like addicted to that color. I'm surprised I haven't completely drained my first bottle yet, but I've got to be close. Okay, so those are my colors. They are mixed with Vivid enamel and Floetrol, no water. I mixed them a little bit differently on the Prism Pour, and no, just on the Prism Pour, I mixed a little bit less enamel in there because Prism Pour is already a wet paint and it's got some of the enamel in it, or some of the Polypore, which is like enamel plus, so it didn't need as much as the other paints. But the golden is a fluid, so it doesn't have any substance by itself, and the pigments, or excuse me, the primary element, which is the Vavoom red, is a dry pigment, so it needs a good binder, and Floetrol does not quite accomplish that purpose, so they had a little bit more of the enamel, and then probably 3-to-1 Floetrol to enamel, and plus the paint, which with pigments and fluids, if you don't already know, you just add your pigment to color, and it doesn't take a lot. I'd say maybe 2 teaspoons to a tablespoon of the golden fluid for an 8-ounce bottle, and probably about 4 scoops of the Vavoom red, and they give you scoops with the sets, and they're probably about a 1/4 teaspoon scoops, maybe half teaspoon scoops. So they are a little pricier than, say, your Liquitex paints, but you don't have to use very much of them, so they last a long time. So now I'm laying down my base, and you'll see that I have a little bit of trouble spreading it. As of now, I'm much better at tilting my base than swiping it on. I see much better YouTube artists than me. Pardon my back here for a minute. They just pour on the paint and they spread it around and it looks great. Kanella Criraco, Gina DeLuca. When I spread it around, well, you saw what happened. It just has uneven, almost bare spots, and yeah, I'm still figuring that part out. So hopefully as I go along and figure this out, I can take you with me. So that's part of the purpose of me going ahead and posting these, is so you can see what I do right and see what I do wrong. And if you're new, you can learn along with me. If you're more seasoned, maybe you'll have some constructive advice on what I should do different. I've watched a lot of videos. I've picked up some of it, but some of it doesn't stay in your head, and I learn best by doing, so I got out there and got started doing. I did cut a fair bit out of the coating the canvas part, but I'm probably also going to speed it up for you. I say probably because in case you don't know, this is a voiceover, and the reason why it's a voiceover is because we have very loud servers in our garage, and I did actually record voice through this video just to see how bad it would be, and it was bad. I couldn't edit it out and you still hear what I was saying. So I'm recording this as a voiceover for the time being. The good news is my husband's planning on replacing the servers and getting them out of the garage, which will benefit me in 2 ways. Number 1, I'll be able to record audio out there. And number 2, I will be able to use that space where his server rack is sitting for a bun rack to store my art while it's curing and drying, which will enable me to do more art. Because right now, my drying curing space is getting a little bit overcrowded, and I have to slow down periodically till a couple pieces are ready to be finished, and then after they're finished, I can do more. So that's kind of a bummer. What I'm going to do with all these pieces, I am not sure yet. I don't think I've made but 1 or 2 that I feel even might be sale worthy. Might be a couple that are gift worthy. Alex has got several tiles spread out over his desk. Don't ask me why. And I'm supposed to make him a coaster. And then we've got a couple pieces that I've made that are going to go up on the walls. So here I'm pretty close to finishing my base. I don't know if you noticed, but I finally went and grabbed the spatula that used to be his kitchen spatula, not anymore. The reason why I did that is Kanella Criraco has this really kind of ugly orange spatula she uses to spread her paint around, and she just loves it. And it did work better than the little spreader I had from Lily Veffy. I thought that would work really good for that. It's probably great as a swiping tool. I haven't tried it for that yet. It seems to do okay for coating the sides sometimes, but it did not do good for spreading it around on the top of the canvas. So yeah, spatula should have gone right to that. That helped a lot. So here I'm starting to layer my colors, and this is where better camera angles will come in. That's the dark waters on the bottom, and I went pretty heavy on that one because I like it a lot. And then I'm grabbing some gold, and I didn't realize how low my camera view is, and that's why you can't see this part here. So I am going to cut part of that out. Okay, so here I'm preparing myself to flip the cup. I'm wanting to flip it fast enough that half the paint doesn't come out before it hits the canvas. And I did a painting before this that day that kind of happened with. So yay, I flipped it and it went like I wanted to, or wanted it to. Now I'm going to let it percolate for a minute or two. Let those colors mix together, and there is my husband coming home. That car is not quite as close to my table as it seems. It seems like it's almost touching it. It's really not. It's a good 4 or 5 feet away. And I shortened this part with the cup sitting, letting the colors develop a little bit for you in the interest of a shorter video. So I generally let it set for a couple minutes or so. And here's my husband and I. Well, actually, that's me talking. The video or the audio that I cut out. I think my husband's waiting for me to release the paint so he can see it, because that's kind of the best part, is when you pull that cup up. And so I did a little drag and lip and a little more drag because I could. That didn't come out exactly how I wanted it. I wanted it kind of a longer, thinner puddle, but I guess I didn't drag fast enough. I really kind of wanted to go the paint to go along the borders of the two colors. But again, I'm still learning, a lot of trial and error. I'm coming out with a lot more pieces that I like enough to keep. I wouldn't say very many of them are masterpieces. I did do one recently that I really loved. So of course I didn't film that one. I just got in a real mood to paint that night and jumped in and started painting, and I wasn't even thinking about the camera. So again, waiting for colors to develop, waiting for cells to pop up. And again, I'm going to cut some of this out for you. Now, what I wanted to do here was I wanted to do a swipe over a dirty pour and see how interesting it got. And at the end, there was little to nothing of the swipes left, just because my tilting. I still need to work on my tilting. I try to do it the way they say to do it and move the weight of the paint back to the middle and this and that, but I have a lot of trouble with getting cells and lacing too stretched out. And it's come across my mind that part of it could be the amount of paint I'm using. But while the paint calculators tell me how much total paint I need on a canvas, they don't tell me how much of that should be base paint. So I kind of guesstimate how many colors I need on top of my base. And I think that's part of it. And this one I had to use even more because I kind of mess up the look. It also took me a little bit to decide where to put that second swipe, and I just stood there staring, deciding what wouldn't break my heart to swipe over, because I felt like it definitely needed more than one. I cut part of that out as well, but you can kind of see me hesitating after I load my palette knife. I really like the lacing that the swipes make. I mean, it kind of, to me, almost looks like a spider web effect. But it's just a really neat effect. Sometimes it can be hard to tilt it without it getting somewhat distorted, just like with cells. Sometimes it's almost a disadvantage if you get a bunch of cells right off the bat, because it's hard to keep their shape when you stretch them. It really takes a lot of practice to stretch them out, especially on a big canvas like this, and get enough paint off your canvas without stretching your cells out of shape. And every time I do a dirty pour, I don't want to tilt it, but you have to tilt it, because if you leave that great big puddle of paint on there, when it dries, it's gonna crack and probably have bumps in it and Lord knows what else. It's not going to dry pretty. So that's just me cleaning up a little bit while I let the lacing develop. And then I decide to come around to the other side of the table and tilt so that you can hopefully see most of it. And there will be parts where I'm in the way, but I try to stay out of the way. I want to get a bar over the top of my table that I can put the camera on. That way it's a more overhead view and I won't get in your way as much. And yep, this is tilting, just slowly tilting. So I am probably going to speed this up a little bit through parts of it so you don't have to watch the whole slow, painful process. When I do one where I'm recording it as I'm doing it, you'll probably have to put up with this. But since this is a voiceover and since you're not going to learn very much anyway, because I'm not very good at tilting, I'm going to cut some of it out. Actually, I take that back. I'm just going to speed it. So here I'm looking at it, kind of deciding what I want to do with it, because I neither hate it nor love it. And here I decide that it's just gotten too muddied and blended in the middle. And I'm going to attempt to fix it by pouring some more colors on it. And that is another thing that was inspired mostly by Mina Villegas. I've seen a couple other artists do it, but she does it more often than most of the artists I watch, and it generally works out well for her in the end. So I decided just to pour over the part I hate most and deal with the rest and go with that rather than scrape it and start completely over. My biggest regret with this piece probably is that I lost so much of the white because I had to tilt over it. I couldn't just tilt up and down. I could have tilted onto the blue more, and I was concentrating so hard on keeping the blue. I didn't, but I wish I had gone more towards the blue, or it might have been stretching out of shape more when I tried to stretch into the blue, and that may be why I didn't tilt more that direction. But I wanted it to be a little more equal blue and white, and there's almost no straight white by the time I'm done except for on the sides. At least I used a really pretty blue. So I'm going to fast forward through layering my colors because honestly, I can't remember exactly how I layered them. I did leave the white out that second time. And the reason for that is when I did a similar thing on the earlier painting, the painting ended up really pretty when it was done with, but it also ended up really pastel, and that is not what I wanted. So I've got the cup flipped. I cut out the part where I flipped the cup because I was in your way and you couldn't see me flipping it anyway, so why not shorten the video just a tad bit more. And then again, I cut out some of the cup sitting there so you wouldn't have to sit through seeing a cup sitting on the canvas doing nothing. And I also cut out me letting it sit. I am sorry I'm kind of in the way for the tilting on this part. I've kind of lost my awareness of what the camera was seeing, so I get in the way on this quite a bit. So I will fast forward through part of that too. If you guys only knew how much behind the scenes editing is involved in these things, at least when you doing voiceover, because you got long pauses in your audio and pauses in the video, you got to speed up parts of the video, cut out parts of the video. Editing is probably my least favorite part of the whole process. So when you're watching YouTubers in general, cut them a little slack because a lot of effort goes into these videos, setting the equipment up. In some cases, you don't have a studio or your studio isn't dedicated to just that. Like a lot of YouTubers that have to set up their equipment and take it down, and then you have to edit it and shorten it, get rid of the parts you don't need, and there's probably going to be parts I don't need in this one still, because I tend to think more is important than actually is. But I mean, there's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So when you're watching videos and they're not perfect, give the YouTubers some slack and give them some love, a like or a comment or something, even if you don't subscribe to their channel, because it helps them out, gets them more viewers, and makes it worth their while, because you're putting yourself out there and only 2 people watch your video. kind of rough. So I'm going to cut out most of this touch-up part as well because it's not that interesting. It's mostly me filling in spots that are not filled in, and I don't complete it. I still had to touch up some of the sides later, and I guess I was pointing at that bare spot on the side of the canvas, but now I'm coming in and giving you a close-up look at that gold. That gold is just amazing. And there's shimmer in the Vavoom red too, but that's the only thing about using gold when I use Prism Pour colors is you kind of lose how much shimmer is just in the Prism Pour because of the gold. And I may stop using metallics when I use the Prism Pours, or at least not use them as often so that they can stand out on their own. Don't really love that pastel part I just went over. It's okay, but I'm not big into pastels. I know some people really like them, and it's kind of muddied too, but they're just not my flavor. I like deeper colors. I like rich earth tones and a lot of the cool water tones. Those are my vibe. But look at those multicolored cells. Those ones there were blue and purple and gold. There's another set that's like that. And it wasn't exactly what I wanted, but it looked pretty organic to me, almost like a rock formation or something. And it looked pretty cool. I think it's worthy of hanging on my wall for now. When I make a better one, then I'll take it down and replace it, and I'll either give it away or sell it to somebody who likes it. You never know who's going to like. And if nobody else wants it when I take it down, then I will paint over it again, because all the paint on that canvas together isn't worth as much as the canvas itself, which, by the way, I forgot to tell you what that was. It is a Centurion GLX, wow, gallery wrapped canvas, 18 by 18. Thank you for watching. Please visit me again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and have a wonderful day.